Every night I check the radio. Every night, nothing. I don't know why I keep doing it. Habit, maybe. A ritual in a world where rituals have no meaning anymore. It's been years since I've heard another human voice. Years since the world crumbled into dust and silence. Yet, here I sit, turning the dial, searching for something. Anything other than static. The radio crackles softly, empty as the world around me. The air is still. The ruins of the city stretch beyond the broken windows of this abandoned apartment I've taken refuge in tonight. Once, this place must have been filled with people. Laughter, arguments, footsteps on the pavement below. Now, it's nothing but ghosts. Ghosts of a world long gone. I talk to myself sometimes, just to remind myself I'm still here. Just to hear something, anything, other than this agonizing silence. Day 2000 and something, I mutter under my breath. Still no signs of life, still scavenging, still breathing. Breathing. Funny how I can still be grateful for that. The sun is setting, bathing the ruins in a golden glow. It almost looks peaceful if you ignore the decay, the remnants of a world that didn't make it. I stand, stretching my sore muscles. Today's haul wasn't bad. A few cans of food, some bottled water, and a half-used first aid kit from a pharmacy that had already been picked clean long before I ever got there. I move to the window, staring out over the skeletal remains of a city that once thrived. I wonder if I'm the last. If anyone else is still out there, wandering like me, searching for a voice in the static. The thought should terrify me. It doesn't. I think I accepted it a long time ago. The radio hisses beside me, filling the room with its ghostly hum. I stare at it for a long moment before reaching out, my fingers adjusting the dial, scanning through the frequencies. Static. Always static. I sigh, rubbing my face. Another night of silence. Another night alone. I settle in against the wall, my back pressed to cold concrete. The air is cooling, the warmth of the day slipping away into the quiet chill of the night. My stomach growls, but I ignore it. Food can wait until morning. Right now, all I want is sleep. I close my eyes, the distant wind whistling through the ruins outside. Then, something changes. A sound, not static, not wind. A voice. Soft, broken, distant. I bolt upright, heart hammering against my ribs, eyes locked on the radio as it crackles to life. Hello? I don't move. Don't breathe. My pulse is a drum in my ears. The voice fades, static hums again. I lunge for the radio, twisting the dial frantically, trying to hold on to whatever that was. Hello? My voice is hoarse, desperate. Who is this? Can you hear me? Nothing. Static. Then silence. I sit there staring at the radio, waiting, hoping, praying that I didn't imagine it. Because if I did, if that voice wasn't real, then I might truly be alone. I don't sleep. I sit there, knees drawn to my chest, staring at the radio as if willing it to speak again. The silence in the room feels heavier than ever, pressing against my skull, suffocating me in the weight of uncertainty. Did I imagine it? Did I finally lose it? The thought festers in my mind like a disease. Maybe I just wanted it too much. Wanted to hear another voice so badly that my brain gave me one. But it felt real. It sounded real. I wait, ears straining against the static, my fingers absently twisting the dial. Frequencies shift, crackle, hum. Nothing. Minutes pass. Maybe hours. The city outside is dead. No distant sirens, no hum of electricity, no voices drifting up from streets below. Just the radio. Just me. I press the transmit button. My voice is raw, hesitant. Hello? Silence. I exhale sharply, running a hand through my tangled hair. Of course it was nothing. I let out a bitter laugh, slumping back against the cold concrete wall. And then, hello? My breath catches in my throat. I scramble upright, my fingers clutching the radio as if it might vanish. Static crackles, breaking apart the syllable, but it was there. A voice. "Who is this?" I ask, heart hammering. "Can you hear me?" A pause. A flicker of white noise. Then, "I hear you." The voice is distorted, warped by distance or age, but undeniably human. Male, maybe. It's hard to tell. I wet my lips. My pulse pounds in my ears. "What's your name?" Silence. Then, barely above a whisper, "I don't know." A cold shiver skates down my spine. The hairs on my arms rise. "You don't know?" I repeat carefully. "How is that possible?" The static stretches between us. Then, in a voice so quiet, I almost miss it. "I think I forgot." I close my eyes, pressing a hand to my forehead. This isn't right. "Where are you?" I ask. A long pause. Too long. And then, "Alone." My grip tightens around the radio. "Where?" I press, my voice rising. "Do you know where you are?" The static hums. For a moment, I think the transmission is gone. Then, just as I open my mouth to speak again, the voice returns, soft and uncertain. "I think I was waiting for you." I stare at the radio, unable to speak, unable to breathe. The words settle into my bones, a quiet, lingering terror curling around my ribs. "I was waiting for you." The static hisses softly, as if breathing. Then the frequency goes dead. I sit there, unmoving, the radio still clutched in my hands. For the first time since the world ended, I feel something worse than loneliness. I feel watched. I don't know how many days pass before I make my decision. Every night, the voice returns. Always the same. Always fragmented, like someone waking from a dream they barely remember. I ask more questions. The answers are vague, distant, wrong. But one night, I get something new. A location. Not an exact one, but close enough. "I need to know," I whisper to myself as I pack my bag. The weight of the rifle at my side is comforting. I don't know what I'm expecting, but I know one thing. If there's even a chance, I have to find them. The journey is brutal. It takes days to reach the coordinates. Days of walking through the desolate remains of a world that once pulsed with life. The roads are cracked and broken, weeds pushing through fissures in the asphalt. Skeletons of cars line the streets, long abandoned, their windshields shattered, their doors hanging open like mouths frozen in a final scream. The silence is suffocating. No birds, no insects. Just the sound of my own boots crunching over debris. The closer I get, the heavier the air feels, like something is watching. By the time I reach the location, the sun is bleeding out over the horizon, painting the sky in streaks of red and gold. The building in front of me is small, a dilapidated cabin, leaning with the weight of time. The windows are shattered, the front door slightly ajar. This is it. I swallow hard and step inside. Dust and decay fill my lungs. The place smells of rot and abandonment, as if time itself has been slowly consuming it. The first thing I see is the radio. It sits on a small wooden table in the center of the room, wires tangled like veins stretching across the floor. It's old, older than the one I carry. The speaker crackles softly, whispering white noise into the emptiness. The second thing I see is the skeleton. It sits slumped against the wall, the remains of its clothing tattered and gray with dust. The skull tilts slightly downward, as if in deep contemplation, hollow sockets staring eternally at the radio beside it. My breath catches in my throat. This can't be right. My pulse hammers as I take slow, hesitant steps forward. The bones are dry, brittle, long dead, too long dead. My fingers tremble as I reach for the radio, pressing the power button. Static hums through the speaker. I adjust the dial, searching, praying. "Hello?" I whisper into the receiver. The static deepens, thick and distorted. Then, for the first time in days, the voice returns. "You made it." My body goes cold. The radio crackles, then falls silent. I stare at the skeleton. A sickening realization crawls up my spine. Who the hell have I been talking to? I can't move. The radio is silent now, but the words still ring in my ears. My breath is shallow, my skin cold. The skeleton hasn't moved, hasn't spoken, but I feel like it's watching me. I stagger back, my heart pounding. This doesn't make sense. None of it makes sense. I was talking to someone real. Weren't they real? I swallow hard and force myself to kneel beside the skeleton. My fingers tremble as I reach out, touching the fabric of its tattered clothing. It crumbles under my fingertips. The bones beneath it shift slightly, fragile with age. Who were they? How long had they been here? And if they were here this whole time, then who the hell have I been speaking to? The radio crackles. I flinch, nearly toppling over. My head snaps toward the device, pulse hammering against my ribs. The static is back, a whispering, writhing thing slithering through the dead air. I hesitate before pressing the transmit button. "Hello?" Silence. The air in the room feels thick. My stomach twists itself into knots. I know I should leave, but I can't. Not yet. I reach out and twist the dial, searching through the frequencies. My movements slow, mechanical. Static, more static, and then a breath. It's not words, not quite, just the faintest inhalation, as if someone is just beyond the signal, waiting. A chill runs down my spine. I press the button again. My voice is barely a whisper. "Who are you?" The breath on the other end of the radio stills. For a long, terrible moment, there's nothing but dead air. Then, the voice returns, too soft. "I can see you." A bolt of ice shoots through my veins. I lurch back, my boots scraping against the wooden floor. My breath catches in my throat as my eyes dart around the room. The skeleton is still motionless. The door is still open, the wind outside still howling through the ruins. I'm alone, aren't I? The radio crackles again. Another breath. Another whisper. So hungry. A deep primal terror grips me. I grab my pack and run. I don't stop. Not when my legs burn. Not when my lungs feel like they're on fire. I just run. Out of the house, into the night, into the rain. The wind howls through the dead city, but all I hear is my own ragged breathing. And behind me, somewhere in the static, I swear I hear footsteps. I run until my legs threaten to give out, until my breath is fire in my throat. The city blurs past, crumbling buildings, shattered windows, rusted cars. The storm rages overhead, the wind howling like some unseen predator at my back. But I don't stop. I can't. I find an abandoned diner, its sign barely hanging onto rusted hinges. I shove the door open and stumble inside, slamming it shut behind me. My hands shake as I drag a rusted metal chair against the entrance, barricading myself inside. The space smells of mildew and old grease, the remnants of a forgotten world. The rain hammers against the roof, drowning out all other sound. I squeeze my eyes shut, willing myself to breathe, to think, to make sense of what just happened. The voice, the skeleton, "I can see you." I clutch the radio against my chest, its silence pressing into me like a weight. It wasn't real. It wasn't real. If I say it enough times, maybe I'll believe it. Maybe I can convince myself that the exhaustion, the loneliness, the endless silence have finally taken their toll, that my mind has started to crack. Then the radio crackles. My breath catches in my throat. Static hisses through the tiny speaker, curling around me like fingers in the dark. My grip tightens, my pulse hammering against my ribs. Then, a voice, soft, close. "Please, let me in." I freeze. I don't move. I don't breathe. The diner feels impossibly still. The radio hums in my hands, waiting for me to answer. But I don't. I just stare at it, my body locked in place, my mind screaming at me to throw it away, to smash it, to run. But there's nowhere to go. I'm trapped in this moment, caught between disbelief and terror. Then, something else. A knock. Soft, deliberate. A slow, rhythmic tap. Tap, tap against the diner door. My entire body locks up. My breath turns shallow, my pulse so loud it drowns out the storm outside. Another knock, then the radio crackles again. "Please, let me in." The voice is warmer now, kinder. "Wrong. I want to be your friend." A sharp, involuntary shudder runs down my spine. My fingers tighten around the radio until my knuckles turn white. The knock comes again, this time harder, more insistent. I clamp a hand over my mouth, forcing myself not to make a sound. The rain pounds against the roof. The storm wails through the cracks in the diner's walls. My body is frozen, locked in place, heart thundering as I stare at the door. Something is outside, something that knows me, something that's been waiting. The radio hisses, filling the silence with static, filling my head with whispers I can't quite make out. My vision tunnels, my thoughts racing towards something I do not want to understand. Then, one last time, in a low, distorted whisper, "I can hear you breathing." The radio dies, and the door handle begins to turn.